let's solve this quadratic equation. We have 2x squared minus ax plus 3 is equal to 0. But let me first tell you, this is not factorable. So I'm going to first show you guys how to use the completing square method to solve this quadratic equation. And then we'll also use the quadratic formula to solve this quadratic equation. And hopefully we end up with the same answer. In order for us to complete a square, we first need to have x squared plus bx on the left hand side. Well, as you can see, we just want to have x to the second power. And let me emphasize that we just want to have a 1 in front of the x squared. But in here, we have the 2, right? This is 2x squared, but we really need to have the 1 in front of the x squared instead. Therefore, I'm going to look at this equation. I will divide everything by 2. This way, 2 divided by 2 will give me the 1 that we need in front of the x squared. Okay, so I'll continue with this right here, divide everything by 2. And we see that we will have x squared. And then negative 8x divided by 2, we have negative 4x. And this is plus 3 over 2. It's just fraction, but then we can deal with fraction totally, right? 0 divided by 2 is just 0, so this is what we have. And then, as you can see, I want the x part to be on the left-hand side. Namely, I want to kick the positive 3 over 2 into the right-hand side. We can do so by subtract 3/2 on both sides. So let me do that. And then we will have this x squared minus 4x. And let me tell you, leave some space here, okay? And this is equal to 0 minus 3 over 2 is just negative 3 over 2. So this is what we have, and we achieve our first step. Then we are going to add the magic number 1/2 times b inside the parentheses, and then square, and then we have to do that on both sides. In here, the b value that we have is negative 4 after we divide the 2. Right? Because we have to have the 1 in front of x squared first. So this right here is our b, negative 4. So let me do that on the side. We have to work out 1/2 times the negative 4 for the b value. And then we will have to raise this number to the second power. And then we can do this quickly. 1/2 times negative 4, we have negative 2. And then we square that, negative 2 to the second power, negative 2 times negative 2, we get positive 4. So this is the magic number that we have to add on both sides. So let me do that right here, and also let me do that right here. And then what will happen is, on the left hand side, this is guaranteed factorable. And even better, the left hand side is going to be something to the second power. It's a perfect square. That's why this is the completing the square method. So if you factor this out, x squared minus 4x plus 4, we will get x minus 2 times x minus 2. So let me just write it down as x minus 2 and then to the second power. Another way to do it is that this negative 2, it will always come from the number before you square, right here. This negative 2, it will always go right here. But you can just factor this out, no problem on that neither. And we'll continue. This is negative 3 over 2 plus 4.
And then we work out the fraction on the side right here for you guys. Negative 3 over 2 plus 4. The 4 is like 4 over 1, right? And then we will have to get the common denominator. Let me multiply this by 2 on the top and on the bottom. And then this is going to be negative 3 over 2 plus 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. So this is just what we have. And then negative 3 plus 8 is positive 5 over the same denominator 2.
So on the right hand side, this right here is 5 over 2. And once we have this, we can then take the square root on both sides. And be sure you put down plus minus on the right hand side. And as we can see, the square root cancel, and we can continue right here. This is x minus 2 equals to plus minus square root of 5 over 2. I can write this down as square root of 5 over square root of 2. Because I cannot take the square root of 5, and also I cannot take the square root of 2. So let me just break them down to this. At the end, I will just add the 2 on both sides, right? So it seems like our answer is x equals to 2 plus minus square root of 5 over square root of 2. And so far so good, right? It seems okay. However, there's a small detail. We should not have an irrational number in the denominator. So what we are going to do right here is I will multiply this right here, the denominator, by square root of 2, and also do it on the top as well. This way, square root of 2 times square root of 2, this is the same as square root of 4, which will end up with just a regular 2, right? So, finally, I'm going to say we will have 2 plus minus square root of 5 times square root of 2. We will have square root of 10, right? Remember, inside number times inside number, right? And then over these two together, we get just a 2. Square root of 2 times square root of 2, we have regular 2. And this is it. And be sure you don't divide the 10 and the 2 because the 10 is inside of the square root, but this 2 right here is innocent. It has no square root. Okay, let's take a look of how we can do this with the quadratic formula. Okay, so in order for us to use the quadratic formula, we definitely have to remember what the quadratic formula is first, right? So, this is it. If the equation is in the standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, which we do have the standard form right here already, then we can just plug in all the ABC values into this formula and then we can solve for x. So let's figure out what the ABC values are. The a is the coefficient, the number in front of the x squared, which in this case we have the 2. And b is the coefficient, the number in front of the x, which we have negative 8. And c is positive 3 in this case. And you see that this is the standard form because the right hand side is 0 already. So we will just plug in these values into this formula. We will begin by saying x is equal to, I see the negative right here, so I will have the negative here. The b, I will have to first open the parentheses, and then let me throw in the b value, which is negative 8, into this parentheses. Okay? So once again, this negative in black is from the formula, and then this negative 8 is because the b value is negative 8. And we'll continue, we will have the plus minus, and then we open a big square root, right? Inside we'll have b squared, and once again, whenever you see the variable, open a parentheses and then raise that to a second power. It's b squared, b once again is negative 8, so I will put in negative 8 in this parentheses. And then the formula says we will always have the minus 4 times the a times c. So let me open two parentheses, one for the a value, the other one for the c value. Well, the a value is 2, so let me plug in right here. The c value is 3, so let me put that down right here. And then this is all over 2 times a, so we have 2 times the a, which is the 2, right here in red. So this is the setup, and now the rest is just a matter of doing the computations. So we'll continue. Right here, negative 8, that will give us positive 8, and then we have the plus minus, and let me just open the square root right here. And what we are going to do is, I would like to write down the things inside, and we'll do it somewhere on the side. Or you can just use a calculator to do all these things inside on the calculator, that's okay as well.
But let's look at negative a squared minus 4 times 2 times 3. Negative a squared means negative 8 times negative 8, so we have positive 64. And then we will work on numbers. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 3 is 24. So we have the minus 24, right? And then all in all, 64 minus 24, we have 40.
And this is the number that I'm going to plug in into the square root. And we will also have the big fraction bar. 2 times 2 give us 4 in the denominator. So this is pretty much it. But then we see that square root of 40, we can break it down, right? Therefore, we have to think about a perfect square that goes into 40, and we know that 4 times 10 will give us 40. So that means square root of 40 is the same as square root of 4 times square root of 10, right? Square root of 4 times square root of 10, that will give us square root of 40. So we'll continue. This is going to give me 8 plus minus. This red square root of 4 is just a regular 2, right? And we will have the square root of 10 stands the same all over this 4. And we are just going to split the fraction. This is 8 over 4 plus minus 2 square root of 10 over 4. This way, I can write this down as, because 4 goes into 8 twice, right? This is 1, this is 2. So we can reduce this we will first have the 2 and plus minus, and then we can also reduce this fraction. 2 goes into 2 one time, and 2 goes into 4 2 times. So we have the top 1 times square root of 10, which is just square root of 10, over the 2 on the bottom. And you see that this is the same answer like the one that we got from completing the square. But I do want to make a quick remark. Another way to simplify this is that I could have just factorial 2 on the top. And let me just do that real quick for you guys. Factorial 2, and then we'll have 4 plus minus square root of 10. And then we have this all over the 4 on the denominator. And we can reduce this 2 and this 4. So at the end, I can also say the answer to be 4 plus minus square root of 10 all over 2. If you put the fractions together, that's okay as well. So you should comment down below and let me know which method do you guys like better, either the QF or the CTS. That's it.